Honorable Senators, let me now put the question. Honorable Senators, I put the question that the Senate endows the report of the Standing Committee on Devolution and Intergovernmental Relations on its inquiry into the state of governance in the county government of Garissa, arising from a statement sought by Senator Abduhaji MP, laid on the table of the Senate on Wednesday, 28th May 2025. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Order number 15, the Technopolis Bill, National Assembly Bill number 6 of 2024. Second reading, resumption of debate.
Senator Samson Chalagay has a balance of 15 minutes. Therefore, if you wish to spend them, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think by the time the House rose on this Technopolis Bill 2024, I want to say as a member, Mr. Speaker, I know you might not be aware that I'm a member of ICT committee, having served for some time, Mr. Speaker. This is a Technopolis Bill of 2024, the National Assembly Bill number 6 of 2024. Mr. Speaker, in the principle of reciprocity, I wish in future the way we fast track the National Assembly bills with a lot of indulgence, they must also show the same energy and passion. So Speaker, we need to start a passionometer, because the passionometer of Senate in National Assembly bills is very good, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, I want, as I suppose, Mr. Speaker, the definition of Technopolis bill is very, and I know we serve together with Senator Beatrice Ogola in the ICT committee, and I know, Mr. Speaker, there are many of delegations of students. Technopolis is where it is like a Silicon Valley in the United States of America, where there is technology, the innovation, Mr. Speaker, and many others, Mr. Speaker. We focus solidly on the issue of technology, Mr. Speaker. I know these generations who have, even some of them, we are visitors, and a number of the table of clerks, apart of course from Senior Mohammed, a number of them has been born in a technology era, including you as truly, Mr. Speaker. So the passage, and we had a big push and pull. I remember Senator Karen Nyamu at some point wanted to propose a bill on artificial intelligence. And the position. Thank you. I don't know, when I mentioned Senator Karen Nyamu, the microphone went off. And she wanted to bring a bill of artificial intelligence. And at that point, Mr. Speaker, we were of the opinion that you cannot regulate AI. Artificial intelligence is a moving target. The technology of today, by tomorrow, is obsolete, Mr. Speaker. So I think, Mr. Speaker, on this Technopolis bill, we must be in place to ensure, Mr. Speaker, that we focus. The only problem, I have seen a number of problems that allocate land to investors in a Technopolis, Mr. Speaker. I don't see it makes sense. What business does Technopolis have to do with allocating land? Mr. Speaker, this should be struck off, Mr. Speaker. Then establish and manage science parks, information, communication and technology parks and innovation centers. I agree, Mr. Speaker. I have met a young people, Mr. Speaker. I had opportunity over the weekend to partake a visitation ceremony of world champion parents of Amos Kipruto in Toulon, a place near Kona in Toulon, in Mgwen sub-county. And I met a number of artists led by Mr. Israel, Jose, Jantex, Mr. Speaker, amongst MC Masir and the list, and a number of them, Mr. Speaker. And their concern is on how to access the revenue. But also, they were happy that the President William Ruto's government has done monetization of digital content. I know they are able to sell. So we need to expand the technology aspect, Mr. Speaker. And that is why, even as we rule out the issue of allocation of land, under the Constitution is the work of National Land Commission. So the drafters of this Technopolis bill must delete, or as a Senate, when we go to the committee of the whole, the Technopolis authority, development authority, does not have business to do with land. Land is managed on behalf of the county and national government, Mr. Speaker. As you are aware, on the chapter of land is National Land Commission. So, Speaker, on the management of managed science parks, I have told you, most of your visitors on the public gallery who are students and people, Mr. Speaker, most of them are using into innovation, science parks and technology parks and innovation centers. I am happy, Mr. Speaker, as we talk, President William Ruto's government has ensured that at least every 290 constituencies have digital hubs. Those digital hubs, Mr. Speaker, are being used to apply for Kazi Maju and also for innovation, innovation agenda within. So these digital hubs will cover 290 constituencies across the nation. This will give opportunity to young people, including opportunity to Meru County youth, in most of those digital hubs, to do their job online, to work online, to do the innovation, Mr. Speaker, and many others, Mr. Speaker. This issue of patents, Mr. Speaker, I know with innovations, we must be careful. There are many innovations that are happening day in and day out, Mr. Speaker, through Kemri, through Calro, Mr. Speaker, and many other aspects, Mr. Speaker. They must be given patents, Mr. Speaker. With the current era of artificial intelligence, Mr. Speaker, and I had an opportunity to attend last year the World Governance Forum, Internet Governance Forum, Mr. Speaker, in Saudi Arabia. And our conversation is how do we protect issues of patents against artificial intelligence. So I know there are many young people who are innovators, who have done innovations. We need to ensure, and I'm happy the minority leader is in the House, the retired Justice, Stewart Manzayo, is conversant, Mr. Speaker, on this aspect of putting in place to ensure, Mr. Speaker. The issue of science museum, I'm happy. Let us know what we have innovated as a country. Mr. Speaker, we have been so into the past on issues of Sinjatrovas and Anthropotrovas, the issue of mankind, Mr. Speaker. We have been arguing. We have the first mankind in Turkana. We have the Museum Society of Kenya, Mr. Speaker, and I'm happy to see Senator Sifuna in the House, Mr. Speaker. I was in Kandui constituency, where Senator Sifuna comes from, and I want to confirm to him that courtesy of subsidized fertilizer, the maize in Kandui constituency, Bungoma County, where Senator Sifuna comes from, is doing very well. And I can assure him for food security and availability of ugali going into the future. With, of course, indulgence the use of word ugali, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, and therefore the issue of museum. I know we have traveled to Jeoyet, we have gone to Turkana, we have museum. I know the students who are your visitors on the gallery will now visit museums. But we want to create science museum. You know, they are no longer excited. These visitors of yours up there who are students, they don't care about Sinjatrovas, Anthrophoras, or those mankind. They don't want to care about the origin of mankind. They want to know what technology is doing for them. And this is a digital era generation, Mr. Speaker. We want to build a digital economy, even through M-Pesa and many other aspects, Mr. Speaker. And then investors, I agree we need to get more investors, Mr. Speaker, like Meta. We need TikTok, Mr. Speaker. We need, and I remember, Mr. Speaker, we had a slight problem with TikTok. I'm happy, and I want to thank the Communication Authority of Kenya, led by Director General David Mugonyi, for coming with a proposal that all the international must come to Kenya, must establish physical offices. Twitter, which is now called X, Mr. Speaker. We have Meta, which is right in Facebook. TikTok, Mr. Speaker, and all, even Snapchat. We need them to establish physical offices in Nairobi for easy following, Mr. Speaker. Because some of these forums are being used wrongly to mislead the young people through ban contents, Mr. Speaker, and also to incite and breach peace, national peace, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, on the issue of technology, we agree. Even in the IEBC 2017 technology, I have seen, Mr. Speaker, the IEBC chairperson and IBC are proposing a raft of legislative issues around elections, Mr. Speaker. I think as a parliament, Mr. Speaker, in my own assessment, and I've been in this parliament for some time, Mr. Speaker, I think we have enough laws, Mr. Speaker, and I know Senator Muma, who is one of the accomplished lawyers, we have enough laws to manage and run elections. I think what IBC should be doing at the moment is to lay the groundwork in terms of limitation of boundary, Mr. Speaker, in terms of ensuring continuous registration of voters, and to ensure the by-elections are done in more than many constituencies and counties that do not have representation in this country, Mr. Speaker. So the work of IEBC is well cut out. They don't need to bother the country with legislative interventions or policy interventions at this point in time. Because as a parliament, Mr. Speaker, I want to assure IEBC we have done proper legislative and policy framework that needs the IEBC commissioners to settle down, Mr. Speaker. I know they want to issue of technology. We are willing to, we have amended the law, Mr. Speaker, to ensure that we put in place the aspect of technology in terms of running elections. So the IEBC should rest easy and focus on the hardware of ensuring that we have credible, proper, and verifiable elections in 2027. And I'm happy, Mr. Speaker, that Mr. Speaker, IEBC now is in place. So now the focus, Mr. Speaker, the focus should be proper, Mr. Speaker. And I've seen since, Mr. Speaker, on a lighter note, as I finalize with my final point, that since IEBC came into place, Mr. Speaker, the opponents of President William Ruto have gone silent because they have realized the real game has just begun. They have now become confused than ever, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, number 6 is on the role of the county government. We need to enhance in this bill, Mr. Speaker. Let us put its focus, establish a special purpose vehicle as may be necessary for the discharge of its functions. The KRA, Mr. Speaker, I think the work of KRA is what cut out. What the Technopolis Development Authority is doing, Mr. Speaker, is not right. I want to challenge that they don't have a role. Let us leave KRA to ensure, Mr. Speaker, that they do their job, because grant such exemptions of fees, levies, and any other charges imposed under this act. I thought those, Mr. Speaker, I'm proposing 2 things. KRA should be left to do its role. And number 2, Mr. Speaker, we normally fast finance bill every financial year. I want to challenge, Mr. Speaker, that these finance bills must and should be passed, Mr. Speaker, should be allowed. They don't have the power to exempt. The Constitution and Article 210, the imposing of taxation is an exclusive domain that is provided through legislative intervention. Mr. Speaker, let's allow the finance bill to be the one to take care of exemptions or taxes or any levies imposed under this act, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, even I'm happy with technology, because now as we talk, Mr. Speaker, across the country, and Kenya alongside South Africa, Mr. Speaker, are one of the countries that are accessing technology. Mr. Speaker, and therefore I'm happy to report that under President William Ruto's government, Mr. Speaker, 24,000 fiber optic cable has been laid across the country. This will ensure accessibility of internet. The only problem I have, Mr. Speaker, and I know the ICT committee, in conclusion, the cost of internet charges in this country is still very high. The Safaricom, the Airtel, and other even Telcom, Mr. Speaker, the cost of internet is still very high. The cost of bundles. Mr. Speaker, whenever you buy, for example, under Safaricom, you buy a bundle of 999 shillings. You get 10 GB. Mr. Speaker, why does it have to expire after 7 days? Yet it is something you have bought it. Mr. Speaker, there is something, we must reform the issue of internet, Mr. Speaker. Because when I buy 10 GB for almost 1,000 shillings, why should it expire and it is my bundles? Mr. Speaker, Safaricom and other agencies must be called to order. There should be no expiry on something you have bought, Mr. Speaker. And I'm happy the Deputy Party Leader of ODM is here and is very passionate on issues of ICT, Mr. Speaker. Senator Otsosi and my good neighbor of Vihiga. We should be told, why should data expire? Yet you have bought it, is yours, Mr. Speaker. Whenever you buy maize, because we grow maize, I give you 10 bags. It should not expire, Mr. Speaker. The goods and content services should remain as is, Mr. Speaker. In fact, with the laying of 24,000 fiber optics across the country, the access to internet should be very careful. Mr. Speaker, I want to report under President William Ruto, we have 1,494 Wi-Fi hotspots for Mama Mboga and Boda Boda to access Wi-Fi wherever they are. Mr. Speaker, since President William Ruto came to e-Citizen, which is part of the ICT, more than 22,500 services have been shifted from 353 services before the president came into power, Mr. Speaker. And this through online, because we are discussing about technology. More than 300,000 youth have been taken through Ajira program, courtesy of the ICT, alongside 290 digital hubs, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to confirm to the House, out of 404 proposed digital hubs, 316 operational digital hubs has been put in place under President William Ruto's government. So the point I want to prove in conclusion is that this Kenya Kwanza administration and the broad-based government is very keen and in support of technology in this country, Mr. Speaker. We want the young people to get access to technology. We want the internet to be affordable. We want, Mr. Speaker, you remember in 2022 elections, there were constituencies that there was no network coverage. When we were in Mandera, Wajir, Turkana, Garissa, we still have a problem with network coverage, Mr. Speaker. Why? Because of terrorism, even in Lamu. Terrorists nowadays, Mr. Speaker, are targeting the masts. The mast, Mr. Speaker. They are targeting the mast of we need the SIPU. Mr. Speaker, there is a unit in police called Critical Infrastructure Police Unit. It's called SIPU. Critical Infrastructure Police Unit. They must protect these masts that due for network coverage, Mr. Speaker, so that the people of Mandera, Wajir, Garissa, Marsabit, all the way to Turkana, even to some parts of West Pokot, Mr. Speaker, even to finish the issue of cattle rustling and banditry in Kerio Valley, Mr. Speaker, is to ensure there is proper network coverage in Kerio Valley, in Baringo, in Samburu, even in other areas that are suffering from insecurity, by ensuring that there is accessibility of technology. Mr. Speaker, you remember I did bring an amendment of Cancer Prevention Act. One of my proposals was use of telemedicine. It doesn't make sense, Mr. Speaker, to have a cancer patient or our patients traveling all the way to India to get medical care. One, we are losing resources, taxes. Number two, we cannot hire enough doctors. Mr. Speaker, why don't we use telemedicine, courtesy of this technology? You are somewhere in Vihiga, you are somewhere in Kisumu, you are somewhere in Lamu, in Homa Bay, in Nairobi, in Kilifi, in Nyamira, Mr. Speaker, in Nairobi, you are in Meru, somewhere in, not Katwana is in Taraka, in Makutano, Mr. Speaker, where I think Antibaiju, where we went with you, Mr. Speaker, why don't you go to a hospital in Meru, in Kapsabet? Use telemedicine, Mr. Speaker, because I've seen my time is spent. Allow me, Mr. Speaker, I was getting hotter and hotter, but allow me to support this bill and say there are few amendments we need to do, Mr. Speaker. With those many remarks, I support with amendments. I thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Senator Chalagai, I can see in my notes that you are supposed to second this. So can you pronounce yourself? It's not? The misdirected by Mr. Mogere, who is in charge of. So then that has Senator Karen Nyamu contribute. I open the motion for debate. Senator Sosi seconded.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to support the Technopolis Bill of 2024. Mr. Speaker, Kenya is not short of tech talent. Our young people have already done exploits in this field, and that's including the young man who came up, who innovated the mobile banking, comes from our country, and many others that our young people have been able to do. We only lacked an ecosystem to enhance it and to have our young people do their talent in an organized and in a profitable manner. So this bill is a good step and a bold one towards remedying that. It also creates other technopolises far from Konza, because we know that the Konza Technopolis and the Konza city was seen as the breakthrough of tech in this country. Mr. Speaker, for far too long, Nairobi was thought as the tech hub. But this bill proposes to democratize or to devolve Technopolis, or tech for that matter, because it proposes other technopolises around the country, from Kisii to Wajir. And we have to ask ourselves, how will these sites be identified so that we are careful not to introduce tokenism when we are picking the sites, so that if you come from a marginalized area, then you are out of luck. Mr. Speaker, this bill also proposes to streamline bureaucracy so that we don't have to go from one office to the other, our young people with brown envelopes with many documents. It proposes one permit, one system, and so that will tackle the issue of bureaucracy. The bill also aligns with President Ruto bottom-up policy, so to speak, because what is bottom-up if not to give the Mama Mboga son an opportunity to also be supported in tech and in their talent. Mr. Speaker, we also have to ask some questions, because this bill has been done in such a way that is hostile to counties. Because how do you ask a county government to support you with land, infrastructure, and all that, then you deny them a seat on the table? Nairobi, for example, has had 100 technopolis or tech hubs registered without this proposed centralized body. And so that is to show that that is not really what we needed. We just needed a devolved innovation framework for the country, so that county governments are very involved in it. And I think that is something that we can come up with as we go, and we can have amendments as we go. But most importantly, let us pass this bill. As a mother and as a leader, and a witness of what tech can do to pull families out of poverty, we need to pass this bill and give our young people an opportunity to turn their dreams into jobs. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Catherine Muma.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity to speak to this bill. Honorable Speaker, I am wondering whether this is a necessary bill. Honorable Speaker, sometimes I get frustrated by bills that come from National Assembly. Many tend not to align to the constitutional framework that we have, governance framework, that is the devolved governance system. Honorable Speaker, reading through this bill, I went straight to clause 5, which lays out the functions of this authority that is being established. And the first question I asked myself, is this authority necessary? We need to grow the digital technological economy and digital economy in Kenya, but does that require an authority in order for that to happen? And the answer is no. When you look at the fourth schedule, we don't have digital technology as an assignment or a function of the national government. Neither do we have it as a function of the county government, simply because digital technology is an enabler of functions, which means both national and county governments need digital infrastructure and technology to carry out their functions. So if you're talking about businesses, if you're talking about establishing industrial parks, which national government in fact is facilitating in terms of additional allocations and conditional grants to counties, counties are setting up spaces, and nothing in law stops a county from establishing a technopolis if it elects to do so. So a law like this one is actually misleading, because it makes it look like for you to establish a technopolis in Kisumu County, you need some authority to come and tell you how this operates. I beg to differ that this is another unnecessary parastatal that is just going to gobble public funds and not assist us. I am of the opinion that the Senate should be bold enough to actually say we need the Ministry of ICT to actually put in place the digital public infrastructure, lay the fiber cables throughout the country to enable every county, every space to actually develop the necessary digital technological capacities. Honorable Speaker, innovation is not a function of a national government or a county government. Innovation can happen by anyone, whether in private sector or public sector. So if we start creating institutions and give them mandates to say they are the ones in charge of innovation, you are actually creating bureaucracies that are going to inhibit those who want to move. In fact, my view is that we need to fund our public universities better. Give our STEM subjects, our STEM departments, more resources, state-of-the-art equipment to actually carry out that innovation. Because learning institutions are the best spaces to actually nurture innovation. If we remove that from the universities and say now we are setting up a parastatal, it is in charge of innovation, it is going to do research, I think we are moving in the wrong direction. Honorable Speaker, at clause 5(1)(a), 1B, I see that this authority is being given powers to allocate land to investors in a technopolis. I have not seen any cross-referencing to the land commission. I have not seen any cross-referencing to county governments which hold county land. I have not seen any reference to municipalities, to cities who also have mandates around matters planning. I think if we pass this law without having a proper conversation among the stakeholders around this issue, we are going to cause more confusion. Honorable Speaker, I have not seen any cross-referencing around what the Communications Authority in Kenya does. Neither have I seen any cross-referencing with the Data Commissioner, but I can see this authority is being given the mandate to actually be the one that is going to be the custodian of business data, whatever that means. Honorable Speaker, I think if we pass this law, we will actually be adding problems and creating confusion instead of enabling the kickoff of the digital economy in this country. Honorable Speaker, clause 5(1)(j) actually gives this authority a function to undertake investment in a Technopolis either by itself or through partnership. So this is the authority that is supposed to give guidance, guide innovation, but it is also supposed to do business in competition with those who will be doing businesses there. This is a matter of conflict of interest. So is it a regulatory body? Is it a standards body? Is it an investment body? I think we are actually getting it wrong. And having said that digital technology is an enabler of anybody, private, anybody, county government, national government, I have then looked at the board, constitution of the board, and the board is full of national government PSs and people elected. It's basically being formed as a national government parastatal, being given functions that are going to be actually to go across the counties. I think whoever drafted this law did not bear in mind our provisions in the Constitution, particularly Article 6, that requires that our governance system is a devolved governance system that must actually recognize both national and county governments. So we are establishing a national government parastatal, giving it functions that are going to cross-cut to counties, and the counties do not have any role in this. My view is, if we need to set up a body like this, we need to go back to the drawing table. We need to ensure that that institution is intergovernmental, not national. We need to give it extremely narrow mandates, which would include just laying out the public digital infrastructure and leave the rest to the markets to actually grow. If you enable access to internet in the villages, the markets will grow. They don't need any authority to come and tell them how to do digital development. If we give resources to our universities, to our TVETs, we will be able to build the capacities around technology that would also enable our businesses to grow around technology. So just on the looking at the functions of this authority and the composition of the board of this authority, Honorable Speaker, this law offends the Constitution. I'm suggesting that the senators relook at it and be bold enough to tell the National Assembly we need to go back to the drawing table to do this, to ensure that this law aligns to the Constitution. I don't support it in the manner it is, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you. Senator Wakirilali.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to comment on this bill. And Mr. Speaker, from the very onset, from where I sit, from the intention of the drafters of this particular bill, I support the enactment of a law that will help us to grow, develop, manage the governance of our Technopolis. So, Mr. Speaker, I support, but with reservations on a number of provisions in this particular bill, which I will propose that the same be subjected to amendments so that it aligns with the Constitution and ultimately achieves the objectives that the bill seeks to create and advance in terms of technology in our country. Mr. Speaker, part of the larger reason why I support this bill is that the development of ICT hubs across the country, which is one of the projects or programs that the Kenya Kwanza government had in its agenda to the people, is to ensure that we utilize the growth and development of ICT in ensuring that our young generation, Kenyans who are tech savvy, get a benefit of using technology in order to not only create employment, but to earn a living, develop their business ideas, and go beyond the region in ensuring that they get jobs and they utilize their expertise. Mr. Speaker, remember, Kenya is one of the fast-growing ICT hubs in the region, and this law, once amended, and with various propositions that I believe honorable members will give here, will support that idea to make sure that we position this country beyond the region, but globally in matters ICT, in matters technology, and that way we will be expanding the scope of source of employment to the people of Kenya. Mr. Speaker, I come from Bomet County, and there is a region in Bomet called Mulot, where we have high-tech boys and girls in ICT. My neighbor, Senator Okongo Mogeni, knows that when you cross over Mulot, you either switch off your phone or you place it on some flight mode because of the technology that is available there. This bill, Mr. Speaker, will ensure that we facilitate and tap to ring-fence such kind of technology to support those young Kenyans, those young Bomet residents, to make sure that we formalize their expertise in ICT and use it appropriately, rather than to enhance their utilization of that in what the law is not yet recognizing it as appropriate. And Mr. Speaker, I will comment about the Mulot ICT Hub, which once this bill is passed, the direct beneficiary will be myself and thousands of residents and techno-savvy young men and women in Bomet who will be directly benefiting from this particular law. However, Mr. Speaker, when you look at a number of the provisions, I want to go straight to some of them. For example, this is what Senator Muma has commented about, clause 5B, where the proposed law seeks to mandate the authority to allocate land to investors in a Technopolis. Mr. Speaker, Technopolis has been defined in Section 2 to mean a zone area which has been ring-fenced for purposes of ensuring that we have got businesses, we have got transactions within the ICT zone, but then the authority has got no role in law, in constitution, to allocate land to investors without, in this particular provision, making reference to the county government, to the National Land Commission, whose mandate in the constitution is to be involved in such matters, land allocation. It therefore means if this law passes as is, an individual will go to court, challenges the provisions of Section 5(1)(b) as unconstitutional, and we will lose the important provisions which are compliant with the Constitution, but for this particular provision. Mr. Speaker, I therefore propose that that particular clause be amended to ensure that it aligns with the Constitution by making appropriate references to other institutions mandated in the Constitution and law for land allocation. Secondly, under the same clause 5F, this is clause 5(1)(f), Mr. Speaker, this is what I earlier on said. The role or the mandate that this authority is given is to facilitate realization of Kenya's digital economy by use of emerging technologies to support business within a Technopolis. Mr. Speaker, as I said, the Kenya Kwanza Plan had the provision of establishment of over 290 ICT hubs, meaning each constituency, in fact, has been required to provide beyond the constituency to the ward where there should exist a hub, ICT hub in such a place. Mr. Speaker, this in itself will ensure that we cascade the provision of ICT technology, opening up opportunities not only in the 290 constituencies, but in almost each and every ward, thus ensuring that we facilitate the realization of the Kenya's digital economy which of course, Mr. Speaker, is one of the major source of business opportunities and economy, which economy is built on job creation and marketplace for almost every other aspect of that we do because of the emergence of ICT in the world. This is a very good provision, and I support to the extent that it feeds into what people had been promised whilst this government was seeking to be given an opportunity to serve for this period. Similarly, this will ensure that, of course, whenever we have all this Technopolis, there will be a one-stop shop. When you look at the mandate of this authority, opening up all sorts of business opportunities which are supported by ICT in one area will ensure that we have got a one-stop shop. By extension, we limit the abuse or rather the misuse of opportunities because you will be able to do and transact within one area because of all businesses that will be operating within that the Technopolis. Mr. Speaker, the provision of the proposed section, clause 6 on the membership. This is actually clause 6, Mr. Speaker, talks about the authority to have certain powers. Among the powers are what I've said, which are unconstitutional, but specifically under 7, the creation of a board to manage the authority, particularly under clause 7E. Other than, of course, the chairperson to be appointed by the president, there is a requirement, as it has been said by Senator Muma, this is an intergovernmental function. We are creating Technopolis not only at the national level. We are creating Technopolis, and therefore there should be some relationship between the national government and the county government. Among the 9 members of the proposed board or authority, 4 of them represent the national government, and 7E represents 5 persons who the clause seeks to be appointed competitively by the cabinet secretary. Mr. Speaker, unfortunately, there is no reference at all to any representation of either the Council of Governors or the county governments where such Technopolis are to be domiciled from. Mr. Speaker, that is one provision that is very critical. It will not be possible for an authority to be representing certain functions which are devolved in law, and yet there is no representation in the board of the county governments or the Council of Governors. And so, Mr. Speaker, I propose therefore that there should be further amendment to clause 7E so that among the 5 people who will form members to the board who are supposed to be competitively recruited, they must be ring-fenced to represent the county governments, if not all of them, at least 3 of the members who will be competitively recruited must be members who will be appointed or nominated by either the Council of Governors or the respective county governments that such a Technopolis will be domiciled from. That way, we will be protecting the interests of the counties as well as ensuring that certain functions devolved are not only performed exclusive by the national government, but with the involvement of the county governments. The rest of the requirements on the qualifications, experience of these individuals to be nominated is provided for under 3B, which, Mr. Speaker, ensures that there will be a diverse character of personnel that will be represented in the board. That way, we'll be having everyone from among engineers, architects, physical planners, ICT experts, law, social sciences, and other relevant fields. This way, we'll be able to have diverse representation within the board, and we will tap those experiences to make sure that we maximize the people who will be dealing with the management of the board. And lastly, on this particular one, Mr. Speaker, the appointment at different dates, this is provided for under clause 7.5, is to ensure that not all the 9 members who will be sitting in this board are appointed at the same time. There is a proposal to stagger the appointments, and this, of course, is aimed at ensuring that there will be no time or no period within which all members of the board, their term is expiring at the same time. That way, we will ensure that there is continuity. When one member's term expires, the remaining members in the office can be able to run, and therefore we do not have a lapse in terms of the history, in terms of the perpetuity of the office. The staggering of appointment and nomination of members is welcome, and Mr. Speaker, this will ensure that we achieve what we have across the board made reference to continuity of office. Under clause 18, Mr. Speaker, the clause provides that this authority is expected to collaborate with relevant county government or any other government entity. This is where we are saying it is going to be extremely impossible for the authority to purport to coordinate and liaise with relevant county governments for purposes of collaboration on development of this Technopolis or in any other manner that requires that collaboration when there is no representation in the board of either the Council of Governors and the Council of Governors or any other person representing county governments. This section 18, Mr. Speaker, will prove to be extremely hard to implement, and therefore it calls upon this particular bill to be amended to ensure that we give them that room to have representation. As I earlier on referred to the ICT hub that is to be developed in the county of Bomet-Mulot, it is the county government of Bomet that is required to provide for the land, and that, Mr. Speaker, has actually been made available. It will not be possible for the national government, whether it's Concert Technopolis or any Technopolis for that matter that will be created if this bill were to be passed, to go down to Bomet, develop infrastructure, get certain approvals, and the county government is not involved. So the provisions of clause 18 all the way to 21 are very critical to make sure that any expected collaboration achieves the objectives of this bill. Without such amendment, it will not be possible because it is not going to be easy for the national government to run without having the support of the county government. Under Part 5 of this particular bill, it's under Technopolis Development Control. This is the same challenge that will come to the development of the control mechanism of the Technopolis in the absence of county governments. There is no clarity under clause 23 on how this control will be achieved, because you cannot expect the authority to regulate zoning, especially where the county government is not involved. There is need to ensure that by the time we are giving the mandates to the Technopolis to control zoning, the county government have a role to play so that whatever zoning that is going to be expected to be done, it is done in full collaboration with the relevant county governments, or representatives of the county government will also, of course, be able to support such particular zoning. The provisions of clause 25 make specific reference to application and approval of development permits. Under this clause 25, there is no reference at all to any role that any county government were to play. Mr. Speaker, remember, our county governments have got the mandate in law to issue certain permits. It will not then be possible for the Technopolis or the authority to grant licenses where there is no reference to any role to be played by the county governments in licensing, in approvals, or in cancellation of those licenses. Yet, it is one of the major sources of revenue for the county governments to issue licenses to businesses, to issue permits to businesses and related roles. So we will need to still relook at the provisions of that particular clause 23 with regards to licensing. Under Part 5, this is a Part 5 on licensing procedure, Mr. Speaker. Clause 29 provides that Clause 29 and Clause 30, they speak not at cross-reference, but contradicts each other. these two clauses needs to be relooked at so that there is compliance in how one is required to apply for license and how that application in terms of whether we are classifying the licenses, where we are giving a certain fee to certain licenses. Clause 29 and 30 should be able to speak to one another so that the law can flow. But specifically under 29C, where it gives a very blanket authority to exempt certain applications from getting licenses before they operate, Mr. Speaker, I propose that the authority should only be allowed to grant exemption on two of the three proposals made. One, if you are a startup business enterprise within the technology and you are on your initial operation stage, you can be exempted if you meet the qualifications as shall be established in the regulations. And secondly, if you are undertaking a collaborative or research partnership with an already licensed and existing entity within the Technopolis. The provision that is proposed to grant another condition of any other person as may be provided for by the authority, by the regulations, is an abuse or a possible abuse of this particular provision in law. We do not need to provide for this in the Act. If necessary, if it must be there, it can only be placed in the regulations which the Cabinet Secretary is mandated to process and prepare for purposes of application. But if we leave this as is, Mr. Speaker, it is prone to a lot of abuse. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, the bill, as I said, is a good bill. It is a bill that its time has come. It will open up the region, the countries to the region, and also will facilitate what we are all aware of, because where we are right now, we are in an IT world. Everything else is on the platform of technology, and this bill will ensure that it gives us the support that we require to transition. And as it transitions, if the objective of the provisions of Part 11 on the transition and the saving clauses to maintain and protect the former authority. In this case, Mr. Speaker, this is the Konza Technopolis Development Authority. A number of provisions in the proposed law needs to be relooked at so that we transition appropriately from Konza Technopolis to other Technopolis across the country without necessarily hampering the right of a county to establish its own Technopolis, because as it is, it will mean that a county government can or is actually not in a position to develop its own without referring to the authority, without getting the approval from the authority. And as I've said, there is no representation of county governments through either the Council of Governors or any other representation in the authority. Mr. Speaker, with those many remarks and the proposed amendments, which I hope the committee unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, I have not seen the chairman of this committee in the House. I hope the members who are members of that committee have followed up the proposals by members on possible necessary amendments to be made on this bill so that it be passed and it serves the purpose that was aimed at. Otherwise, as is, Mr. Speaker, there is still a lot to be done to make sure that this bill is a representation of the desires of the Technopolis and those who have come up with this particular bill. Mr. Speaker, I thank you and I support.
Very well. Senator Veronica Duarte.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to this very important bill. From the very onset, I think the intention of the proposal of this bill coming from the National Assembly was intended to regulate a field, the field of technology, which is emerging and which is developing at a very fast pace. So the intention is good, but the bill needs a lot of panel beating in many respects because there are certain provisions that seem to usurp the powers of other entities that have certain responsibilities towards the public or towards the sector. Let me from the onset indicate that with the enactment of this Technopolis law, ideally I would expect that whatever bill is presented to Parliament, that first it encourages innovation in technology and encourages emerging expertise to be utilized in cybersecurity because of the emerging issues that we are having with technology. The bill must also meet the objective of incentivizing investment into the field of technology. If that bill is not meeting that objective, then it will be falling behind what is expected for this bill to meet. And this bill, from my thinking, must also offer a framework that attracts a lot of investments while taking into account a deliberate utilization of Kenyan human resource. Because we very well know that our young generation in Kenya are very suave in technology matters. They have advanced to a very good extent. And it would defeat purpose for us to create a law which doesn't take into account deliberate utilization of that human resource, the Kenyan youthful human resource that is very well versed in technology. I have looked at the provisions that are in this bill, and I want to join my colleagues, Senator Kathy, and I don't remember, there was another senator who also, I think it was Senator Osoti, who also talked about the definition of a geographical area, controlled area. And there is also Senator Sigei who's spoken into it. And I'm looking at the definition section, the interpretation section, preliminary. That's on page, the first, I think it's page, I don't know why it's named as page 113. I'm looking at it and asking myself why Konza Technopolis was defined with specific reference, specific parcel of land, and with a specific geographical zone, with specific hectares, 2023.6. Supposing tomorrow, Mr. Speaker, supposing tomorrow Konza Technopolis needed double this space, or did not need this much land, and needed to utilize a quarter of this land, would it be smart to define that parcel, specific parcel of land, land reference number 9918/6? What is the purpose of introducing a specific, this is legislation, this is not a contract. You define acreage and you define area based on a specific contract between contracting parties so that it locks the subject matter of that contract. When I look at definition of Konza Technopolis, it's a bit, it's something that anybody would put in a schedule or in a regulation or in an annex document. Ideally in law, you must create a principle which gives the parameters around which an issue is being enacted for a regulation or a rule. So I think it's a bad idea, and that must be amended. Then I've looked at the reference to the buffer zone, meaning a defined area surrounding a technopolis that is subject to controlled land use. When we talk of a buffer zone, it is not even defined whether it's now within this Konza Technopolis or whether that buffer zone will be taken beyond the 2023 hectares. It is not defined whether the authority, Technopolis authority, will wake up one morning and define the buffer zone as a radius of, say, 1,000 hectares around the Konza Technopolis, and that leaves it vague and subject to abuse. I would say, first, when the buffer zone is introduced within this legislation, what is the purpose of that buffer zone? What is the size of that buffer zone? What does it intend to fulfill? Is it helping the Technopolis? Is it radiation? Is it subject to certain things that could be affecting the neighborhood? What is the buffer zone for? if you just throw words here, we know how our nation operates and how our people think sometimes. Some of them are not well intentioned. They will misuse that area, that reference to buffer zone, to bring in demands on maybe the people who live around the Konza Technopolis, and it could be used wrongly by people who are not well intentioned. So I would say, let the buffer zone be taken out. If it's not taken out, define the purpose of that buffer zone, the size of that buffer zone, whether the buffer zone is within the Technopolis area or whether it is not. And I give this submission while respecting the fact that ideally this Konza Technopolis should not be defined the way it is. This doesn't look like good draftsmanship. Then the definition of Konza Technopolis, though I'm not an expert in IT, I'm asking myself, should a Technopolis dealing with technology, dealing with virtual spaces, should it be defined in a physical manner? Or do we define even virtual spaces where this technology will be utilized? Are they within, is this act applicable to virtual spaces? So I'm thinking there is just something not correct about that definition, and experts must be able to tell us. For instance, when you have a virtual space, do you own that virtual space? Are there rights that could help one to own that? If you leave those virtual spaces here, can you raise a claim against a competitor who comes in to use your virtual space? I see many times, Honorable Speaker, when companies like Safaricom host masses, they have satellites, they have masts. I see them having a joint cooperation with other companies in the same sector in communication, utilizing that space because of certain policies that you regulate, how even those spaces, even those aerial spaces can be utilized by companies to ensure that you're not spreading out certain parameters of uses of land that could be co-shared between even competitors. So when we see the definition of Konza Technopolis as actual land, is the mindset still in investment on physical property, physical tangible assets, physical immovable assets, or do we have spaces that are not seen, by bare eyes? So I see as though that is not very progressive. It does not take into account the utility of virtual spaces. And I believe this should be amended or removed from this revised and dropped. And based on whether virtual spaces should be included, then the definition must change. Then, Honorable Speaker, I have gone to Section 5 of this bill, and I have looked at 5(1)(b), and the powers that are given to, the functions that are given to the authority to allocate land to investors in a Technopolis. From the plain reading of this provision, Honorable Speaker, this clause does not indicate whether there are any terms even for allocating that land. And indeed, as pointed out by legal experts who are also doubling in as senators, land allocation is something that is not within the purview of the Technopolis unless if they own it and they want to lease it, in which event they would say leasing the land or using different terms and concepts. Allocation of land is a function that is left to either the government, the Ministry of Lands, or county governments. They could allocate, but I'm not sure whether allocating land is a concept that should be used here. Maybe other definitions of how land could be, how land could be leased out, or other ways or licensing of that land by the holder of the title. And again, the provision leaves it very open. For instance, if this is enacted into law and it says that this authority shall allocate land to investors in a Technopolis, it means all I would need to do when this turns into law, I would just walk into the offices of the Technopolis authority and then demand that land be allocated to me. And because they have not put it subject to any conditions that may be developed by the authority, I would even say it's a free allocation. So if you try to put a premium on it or demand a consideration for that land as the authority, a person interested in that land or an entity interested in that land could easily challenge this in court and say it was an open allocation. So if they must allocate or lease out this land, that must be amended to read that based on the conditions that will be laid out by the authority. It has to be closed so that anybody transacting with that authority will understand that there are conditions that are developed. And then there is the concept within which this law has been made. If you read it, it's pointing at just the Konza Technopolis. How about the concept of this Technopolis being open to 47 other counties? So that we have a clause introduced in the bill foreseeing a situation where the 47 counties would have the freedom to also develop their own Technopolis. And supposing already in one of the counties, say in Nairobi, they're already having an area where Nairobi County, where they have already developed a concept close to Technopolis. Can a clause not be introduced into this bill that then says those Technopolis which are already meeting the conditions under this bill will be recognized to be within the purview of this bill and will become subject to the authority? The land use in the Technopolis, there is defined in section 6 of this Technopolis bill that the authority shall have all powers necessary for the proper performance of its function under this act, including the power to regulate land use in a Technopolis. So how far do you give this power to Technopolis, and why is the land use being regulated by Technopolis while in actual fact the zoning of land and land use is defined elsewhere, especially because there is an intention for that land to be allocated? I think this is an overreach and it needs to be redefined. That function could be resting elsewhere, not within the Technopolis. And if they must do it or give an advisory, they can only give an advisory to the organs or the entities that are legally mandated to deal with the land use planning. So my submission is that function rests elsewhere and should be left to the entity, the public entity that is supposed to deal with it. When I look at 6D, approve development applications, issue construction permits, and license users within a Technopolis. Of course not, they cannot issue construction permits. That once again is within the purview function. It's a function of the county governments. They issue construction permits unless they need a very technical construction permit whose expertise rests within the Technopolis. But there is no suggestion within this bill that they will have a team of experts in construction of premises suitable for matters that are required to be developed or technology that requires to be developed within the Technopolis. They have not brought in the element of very special expertise that cannot be handled by the county governments. And if they have not brought in the concept of experts who can come into these construction permits, that is not within their mandate. So it will be void even on the plain reading of it. And they do not reference to any regulations that will be applied in licensing. Then I want to look at 6F. The authority has been given powers to enter, inspect, and search any premises to enforce the act. Is that not going against the Standard Policing Act? How will they enter? Do they have a policing unit? Is there a creation of policing unit? It's food for thought to the proposer of this bill. Let me go to the qualifications of the chair and under section 7. The chair seems to be a person qualified for appointment as the chair if the person is a citizen of Kenya, holds an undergraduate degree from university recognized in Kenya, has at least 10 years experience in leadership and management, and meets the requirements of Chapter 6 of the Constitution. I do not think those qualifications are adequate for a chair of such an authority. We must add another qualification, and an amendment must be done to this section to add that he must be a graduate qualified in a matter of technology, so that he's versed with what the authority is doing. Just bringing in somebody from, for instance, if you gave that authority to Professor Tom Ojienda, and we know what his expertise is in, would he be the best suited Kenyan to lead that authority? My proposal is it should be a person who is versed with IT or technology matters or communication matters. So, Honorable Speaker, in my view, a lot of work needs to be done, and a lot of work needs to be done to amend and revise these sections. This looks like an ordinary bill, one that does not go into the specializations that it is supposed to be addressing. So while the intention is good, it does not go into the specific technology area and bring out the salient, unique issues that need to be addressed within the Technopolis. And once again, the buffer zone of the Technopolis needs to be addressed. That concept of the buffer zone needs to be addressed. And then, Honorable Speaker, I've seen a section also requiring that processing of expatriates' permits, working permits, will be done by the authority. That also needs to be rethought. Processing of such permits would normally be done by the immigration, and entities that come to trade or invest must have the local content. They must have Kenyan within the purview of their human resource, so that if we have local skills that can serve within those companies, they must be included, and they must have a Kenyan local content included in any investments that come into the Konza Technopolis or into the Technopolis concept. With those many remarks, I support this, but subject to revision, to heavy revisions, to clean up and tidy out all those issues that have not been addressed, and to bringing the concept of technology within the bill, so it doesn't look like an ordinary bill dealing with any other ordinary aspects in Kenya, but it must come through as a bill that deals with AI, if AI needs to be dealt with in this bill, other aspects that are emerging within the technology, how they would be managed if they are housed or premised on the Technopolis jurisdiction. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity, and I support.
Okay, let's have Senator Pelis Obiko.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I arise to support this bill, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this bill has come at an appropriate time, Mr. Speaker, when Kenya is going the technological way, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we definitely need this bill to start and to regulate the virtual infrastructure, the virtual space, the virtual businesses, Mr. Speaker, and to initiate the issue of Technopolis in this country, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it has been long coming because the idea was mooted during the time of President Kibaki, Mr. Speaker, and to the extent that today the Konza city has come, Mr. Speaker, it is moving in the right direction, albeit slowly, Mr. Speaker. But Mr. Speaker, there is hope. And Mr. Speaker, this is the direction to go. I have listened very carefully to Senator Senator Veronica. And whereas a lot of things she has mentioned do make sense in the cleanup of the bill, Mr. Speaker, but definitely this bill, Mr. Speaker, has come at the right time. A lot of Kenyans are going to depend on the virtual space for businesses, particularly the young people, Mr. Speaker, because at the moment, Mr. Speaker, the world is going the technological way, Mr. Speaker. So for this bill to start regulating the virtual space and also even the physical space, particularly of the Konza city, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Kenya will be known as a global pace setter in this area, Mr. Speaker, of technology, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, besides regulating the virtual space, the virtual businesses, the online businesses, Mr. Speaker, also right now, why this bill is referring to the authority is because, Mr. Speaker, even the physical space needs to be thought about, needs to be regulated, the infrastructure needs to be put in place, Mr. Speaker, for a proper takeoff, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, at the Konza city, a lot of horizontal infrastructure has already been done. And every time, Mr. Speaker, a lot of Kenyans have been worried that the Konza city is going to be a white elephant, Mr. Speaker. But because the subsequent governments, including the even the Uhuru Kenyatta government, embraced the issue of the Technopolis, and right now President Ruto has embraced the same. I think the Konza Technopolis is going to be a reality, Mr. Speaker, and a lot of Kenyans are going to benefit. Already, Mr. Speaker, we have seen the settlement of a number of universities at the Technopolis, Mr. Speaker. We have the Open University of Kenya already settled at the Konza Technopolis. We have, there is another technological university which is also starting. I think it has started, Mr. Speaker. And so, Mr. Speaker, there are a lot of infrastructural development that are at the Konza city right now. Mr. Speaker, I know there is the data center, the nation data center already in place at the Konza Technopolis. There is a system being established at the Konza Technopolis, Mr. Speaker. And so I think the Konza Technopolis is definitely a good startup for the future, to prepare Kenya for the future, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, there are a lot of opportunities at the Konza Technopolis. And why particularly I will not necessarily say the authority that's going to be established will only concentrate on the virtual space, Mr. Speaker, even the physical space of the Technopolis and the developments around there will benefit a lot of Kenyans, Mr. Speaker. Actually, Mr. Speaker, for those of us who come from around the Technopolis, Mr. Speaker, because I am a neighbor to the Technopolis, Mr. Speaker, our hope of having infrastructural development around the place is now pegged on this, on the reality of the Konza city, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, a lot of people from both Machakos, Makueni, and Kajiado counties, and other Kenyans are looking at the Konza Technopolis to be an alternative city from Nairobi, Mr. Speaker. And not just an alternative city, but a well-planned city, Mr. Speaker, a city of the future, a modern city, Mr. Speaker, that has been planned, because a lot of cities in this country, Mr. Speaker, spring up from non-developed and no plans in place, Mr. Speaker. And so finally we have a city in Kenya that will embrace both the physical, the virtual. Mr. Speaker, a lot of planning has gone into the Technopolis, and so it is very important that the authority is put in place to regulate the development, to regulate the opportunities, and to encourage, foreign investments, and to encourage a lot of international, businesses, Mr. Speaker, to come into place. So, Mr. Speaker, I do support the establishment of the authority. I do support, Mr. Speaker, the realization of the Konza City, Mr. Speaker, because we have waited for a long time for this the Technopolis to become a reality. Mr. Speaker, the authority also will become a one-stop shop. From the layout that is there now, Mr. Speaker, you will find a completely self-sustaining city that will have everything in it, well planned, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I believe the Konza Technopolis, once it's fully developed and fully functional, Mr. Speaker, Kenyans, it will be a place that a lot of Kenyans will want to be associated with, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, there is the proposed establishment of the Science Museum, Mr. Speaker, within the Technopolis. And I think, Mr. Speaker, this is a very welcomed idea. Mr. Speaker, it is very important that a lot of things will be documented and preserved for future purposes, Mr. Speaker, for learning purposes, Mr. Speaker. I believe the authority will be able to do that, Mr. Speaker. There will be a lot of amendments to this law, as there has been for other laws, and so our worry should not be that this document is not necessarily at its perfect form, but that it can be improved. It will be made better, Mr. Speaker, right at this level and even in future, Mr. Speaker. But, Mr. Speaker, definitely, this is not a bill to oppose, Mr. Speaker, because it's taking Kenya to the right direction, Mr. Speaker.
mapenzi, si tulishapendana, ananienzi na muenzi, alivyoumbika mashallah, katoto kanyota yani star, kanaleta mwangaza, sitaki kupoteza makita, wachani ringie dunia. Halo halo, nimekuja na tangazo, uoneni kwa macho, amenifunga milango ya roho yangu mama. Girl, I wanna show you off, show you off, show you off. Unawa finish kumalo. Girl, I wanna show you off, show you off, show you off. Unawa finish kumalo. Mapenzi yamejaa kwa hewa, zimatana upunguze AC. Ni nani aliyekukera? Anaishi wapi nimtumie jeshi? Liapa sitapenda tena, lakini leo nafungua kesi. Songea karibu upesi, sensi jukati yetu kuna 0 sentimita, hakuna kilomita, kiuno chako kinanita naitika, moyo wangu sinyorita, kati yetu kuna 0 sentimita, hakuna kilomita, kiuno chako kinanita naitika, moyo wangu sinyorita. Halo halo, nimekuja na tangazo, uoneni kwa macho, ameifunga milango ya roho yangu mama. Girl, I wanna show you off, show you off, show you off. Unawa finish kumalo. Girl, I wanna show you off, show you off, show you off. Unawa finish kumalo.
Kuna wakati umenifika kwenye call, sitaki nikuone, kisha ghafla I miss you, nataka nikuone.
Kuna wakati umenifika kwenye koni, sitaki nikuone, mara ghafla miss you, nataka nikuone. Kwanza unaniboaga na miguu yako ya pia, kisha usiku vikoromaga, kuaga na chukia.
Hizo kelele zako ni nani unampigia? Huwa nakumaini nahisi kama unaniongopea.
I abide by you, I abide by you. Sitaki kuumiza hisia zako, so I abide by you.
Sometimes you're wrong, but I abide by you. I abide by you, baby. I abide by you. I abide by you. Wakati mwingine nimefika kwenye ukingo, ila uzuri ndo umezidi ubaya wako, ila ndo I love you, baby.
Wakati mwingine ndo umenitibua, sitaki kukuona wala kusikia stori zako, ila ndo I love you baby, I love you baby. Kwanza unaniboaga na miguu yako ya pia, kisha usiku vikoromaga, uaga na chukia.
Hizo kelele